Hello, here is how I went from being exhausted and overworked to consistent high-ticket sales with way less effort. It all changed the moment I stopped being just another coach, just another service provider, and this is an inner shift, this is an identity shift. This is the moment when you say, yes, this is my work, this is what I do. For example, I'm a psychologist, I'm a relationship coach, but the point here is that you are completely shifting your identity from I am this to I am transforming people's lives. And in my case, this was when I realized I am helping people make millions of dollars within 30 days, and I was charging something like 3K at that time. So imagine what kind of ROI this is. And at the same time, because I was just acting as someone who is just a service provider, someone who is doing the marketing, something who is doing the business plan, and I was not perceiving myself as the big deal, And this, once I changed this and I stepped into my CEO identity, into who the F I am, everything completely shifted. If I'm being very honest with you, there was really a time when I was even operating like an employee in my own business. Like I was not only being like fully in service of my clients, but I didn't even have time to promote myself, to post a piece of content on social media or to do a live, because my creative energy was completely drained. And the moment I realized this, that I was awfully over delivering, and I'm not speaking here like you should not deliver what you have promised or what your offer is. That's not the point. The point is that under over delivering, you know what I mean. I mean that you're not charging extra for the additional things you do and you deliver to your clients. And while, yes, sometimes you could do this, but from a place of abundance, from a place of, I want to give you this because I see you need it and it costs me nothing to support you or to answer your message. But at some point I was in a constant over delivery, like over caring, over explaining all the time, and imagine like having 7 one-on-one clients, on top of this having groups, on top of this having to promote yourself, on top of this having a brand new relationship that you need to grow and develop. And guess what happened? I didn't have time for myself. I lost my creativity in a way that I didn't have time for my own business and for myself to just relax, to just stay one day and stare at a point, and just having my mind relax. I was constantly fixing my clients' businesses as well, and I was saying yes to every message, every quick question, every request that wasn't included in the offer. And trust me, I see this with people who are making 200K, even $1 million months. You're afraid to say no to people, even if they are in your closest proximity. And you're supposed to deliver a lot of things and to be really available. You can set up boundaries. You can say, this is not included, or this is going over the scope of the offer. Would you like to still get it at X cost? And you're afraid to say this. I see this every single day. This is costing you so much, not just one-time money. It's not about $500 or $1,000 or I don't know, whatever you charge. You would charge for this extra work, or extra delivery, or extra call, or whatever it would be. It is costing you your creative energy, which is the most important asset. This is an asset that is non-negotiable, and it's not refundable. It's not something you can get back. Your time, your energy, and your creativity. Okay, sorry, my hair looks really strange today. Whatever. So I was saying yes to every single thing, and I was calling this a good service. Like, I was additionally managing people's emotions more than their results sometimes, because I was facing clients who were really in an emotional stage that is not for a business owner who is scaling from 200K to 500K, you know. At some point you need to be very resilient, and you need to be at a place where you can hold your emotions. You are not reacting to every single thing that's happening or not happening in your business. You need to be able to hold more, because that's your money portal. And I'm working a lot with this, and I have worked a lot on this in the last more than 10 years. My own money portal and my own relationship with money. And I see that the more I can hold my emotions, the more I can be resilient, the more I'm not reacting, but I'm acting like a CEO, meaning I am thinking, making decisions, being aware of what could happen, what could go wrong, or what it would take longer than I expect. This is helping me to stay more grounded and to be able to hold more money, to attract more money. And at some point, I had a serious situation where I had a couple of clients who expected to, you know, they were starting almost from zero, but they were expecting that in 2 months they are going to make millions, which of course is not normal. And I was facing situations where they were not doing the work at all, and they were expecting me to do the work for them, to be responsible for their results. They were wasting their one-on-one calls on totally irrelevant situations and not even questions, but I don't want to say more, but I know you face this. I'm saying this not to make fun of someone or to shame someone, but because I see you're facing this every single day, and this is something we are working a lot with in my world. So what I had to shift, and how did I navigate this? First of all, I want to tell you that this is a process. You are not going to nail it from the first day, and it starts with the small expansions, saying no to certain things, even small things like saying I'm not available at 10 a.m., I'm available at 12 p.m. Or saying I cannot do that call on Tuesday, I can do it on Thursday. Okay, and yes, there will be people who are unhappy. You need to understand this, because many people, many clients are not ready to take responsibility. And this was very difficult for me to understand, how someone is paying high ticket to work with me, because this is a privilege to work with me on that level, that high level, and people were not doing the work. And I was like, really, what is going on? How are you going to pay 7K or 10K per month for one-on-one work and not be doing the work, and expecting that someone else has to take care of everything in your business? So I started shifting. I realized this is how it starts. You need to realize that you are not leading like a CEO, that you are not taking enough care of your business as a business owner, that your responsibility as a business owner is to secure income and profit, to make sure there are boundaries, and to make sure that clients are getting results. But if the clients are not willing to do the work, you cannot get them results. Okay, so how it starts? First, you need to realize where are these leaks, what you are doing, and this is very radical responsibility. I would say it is not very easy to admit, okay, I made a mistake here. okay, my terms and conditions were not in place or not clear, or I don't have this exact point in my terms and conditions, so clients are crossing boundaries and they expect me to be available like at 10 p.m. Okay, so you need to be fully aware of the places where you are leaking this energy. And this is not from a place of shaming yourself, because what I will tell you, like, I was beating myself. Don't think I was not. But I realized that my desire to serve and help other people is out of this world, and I need to cultivate it and to put it into some kind of boundaries. Like to have really something like a clear framework on what is included in every offer. And even when I did this, there were still people who were trying to cross these boundaries. And then I had to learn to stop being the convenient girl, the good coach, the good service provider, and to be able to say, I would love to help you, but I'm not available at this time. I can meet with you, or we can hop on a call at X time. I even had situations where clients were not booking their session, and they were just calling me on WhatsApp and expecting me to be available and to be able to do a work when, like, for example, right now I have to be available for you. How this happens? When you are not booking your call. Like, you cannot send me a message to say, can I book my weekly call on Thursday at, I don't know, 1 p.m. And yes, when I started setting these boundaries, we have situations. We have had situations. But it all starts, the shift of being everything for everyone to being a CEO. This is an identity shift, first of all. It's not just strategy. Yes, there is a strategy element, but this is first of all an identity shift. You realizing that you didn't build your business to serve endlessly, you know. You built this business to lead powerfully, to make an impact, and to generate income and profit. Let's distinguish. There is a difference between income and profit. I know businesses that generate a lot of income, but when it comes to profit, it's really close to 10-20K per month, which is irrelevant, okay? So here are a couple of things that I personally have changed, and that when I give this restructuring, this pivoting to my clients, they instantly double their sales. So imagine if you are making 30K, you're going to start making 60K months. If you implement this, and these are not like some fancy messaging trick, this is not another fancy funnel or another fancy sales strategy, this is internal, this is an identity shift. This is something where you're saying, stop, period. I am not someone who is just here to serve. I am here to build a business. I am a CEO. I am someone who lives powerfully, who leaves an impact, who is changing people's lives, regardless of your niche, whether you're a relationship coach, whether you're a psychologist, therapist, whether you are health and wellness coach, weight loss coach. My favorite niches are these. I love working with you. So let me tell you a couple of shifts that I did instantly and immediately. Like, you are writing this as a standard for yourself, and you are not stepping back. This is the line, not crossing this line. First, you need to do it with yourself, okay? And this is difficult because oftentimes it happened to me, like someone is asking for extended payment plan, for example. Or someone is asking me, are you going to have a discount of this offer? I really want to join, but I will wait for a discount. And now, okay, you might like this person really a lot. It's your ideal client, you want to work with them, but here comes the question, am I going to cross my own boundary, my own standard? And here the point is not that you're perfect, but that you're doing step by step. Because as I told you, oftentimes it's not happening like that. This is a process. This is a work in progress. And I want also to tell you that the more you grow, the more you evolve, you will keep facing different kinds of challenges. And that is normal. Like, for example, 10 years ago, my boundaries were at completely different level. And once I established a certain standard and it became normal, then I had to raise the bar again and again and again. And this is a work in progress. Okay? So let me just go through the things I have done. I have a couple of bullet points because otherwise I will speak forever. Here is what I changed. First, I restructured how I deliver. I became less available, but more powerful in every touch point. This means that you're going to set boundaries, what you're talking about on calls, for example, so you're not wasting your time, or you're going to tell to the client, look, this is going to take us 6 months, not 3 months. You're going to say, I am available for calls from X period to X period, and this call must be booked in advance. I'm not available for emergency calls because you have decided, or you didn't show up on the scheduled call and now you cannot call me and I cannot be available for you at any time you decide. And then think of how you can restructure your work. Maybe you could develop a new framework. Maybe you can restructure the offer in a way that you're going to make sure that clients get really quick results if they are doing the work. So that was another thing I did, and it really started getting better results for my clients because I was showing up much more powerfully. I was showing up for, let's say, a 1 hour call, but we were doing so much work in such a potent way that it helped them grow much faster. So I stopped doing half of the things that I was doing and really focused, because most people's problem, most business owners' problem is the lack of focus. You're doing 50 things when you need to focus on 3 things in the next 6 months to see a significant result. So I cleared up all the vanilla stuff and I focused myself first, learned how to teach my clients how to focus on their things, to give them the strategy, the things they need to focus on, and to let them do this. So then each and every call is a refinement, it's kind of a follow-up where we are discussing what's happening, where you're having some difficulties. That was one thing that really helped me stop being exhausted from doing everything for everyone. Then I started saying no. As I told you, this is something that is not very easy, and once, especially in the beginning, when you start doing it, it's kind of, but are they going to be happy? Maybe this client is going to leave. So I had to accept this. This was my way to deal with it. I said, if these people are not paying what this work is worth and they do not respect my high level work, this is not my ideal client. And if they want to leave, I prefer to let them go with love, with peace, and get someone else who is ready for this high level work and to pay for it, instead of draining myself and draining my client. So again, this is a win-win situation. Even if you lose, it's going to be a win-win situation. But that's a very, You need to be at a very high emotional intelligence level to do this. So that's why I started with this thing that this is a high level work. And this is an identity shift. You need to be ready to say, okay, I will let go anything that no longer serves me. And I know, I trust, I believe myself and the universe that I will attract better. Once I did this, the clients who weren't doing the work, the conversations that were draining me, and even situations where I cared more than they did, all of these just dissolved. Yes, these clients left, but much better clients came. I was able to 3x my prices. I was able to attract people who have much more self-awareness, self-responsibility, people who had teams. And these business owners, these entrepreneurs had outstanding results, significantly better results. And my testimonials started being screenshots of how my clients made millions. But these were people where we were focusing on the work, not wasting time, not wasting energy, everything clearly set up, everything following a strategy, everything like cause that has been really structured, strategic, tactical. And the results were at a totally different level. But this started with saying no. This started with me valuing my energy, myself, my work, my expertise and experience. And this is why I attracted clients who started respecting me more and paying like 50K. Before that, I was struggling to sell 5K offer. And once I shifted this, I attracted clients paying 50K. So this is 10x difference, 10 times more. Okay? Because I started valuing myself, stop being convenient, stop being there for people who didn't do the work. And I said, no, I'm raising the bar for myself. The next thing, I started holding clients accountable. So it's very difficult to deliver results when people are not being, accountable, when people are not doing the work. This is a service, what I'm offering. So this business and marketing mentorship, this is a service. And this is long-term work. Yes, we get instant wins, but the sustainability, the millions of dollars, or even if it's 6 figures, this is not coming like that. So I started holding clients accountable, not from control, but from leadership. Okay, and this completely changed the type of clients that came. I stopped carrying their responsibility and started showing them where my role ends as a mentor, even as someone who is being part of their business, because I also had many clients where I was playing the role of a CMO or marketing manager. I was not doing only mentorship, but also combining these. And I started showing them where my role ends and where theirs begins. The next point is I raised my prices and reduced what I deliver in low ticket offers. This means that you cannot have a $49 masterclass and deliver as if this is, 5K offer. Or you cannot deliver one-on-one work in a 5K offer where you're constantly over-delivering in something that must cost 20K or 25K or 50K. And oftentimes I see that you must already be at 100K months, but you're making 30K because your pricing is irrelevant. And you are delivering in low ticket spaces as if they're your closest proximity client. Shift this. And I know it sounds like, oh, like very easy. Oh, okay, I'm going to raise the price, but this is not that easy to be done. Again, you need to be aware of your own standard and to not waver every time when someone says, oh, that's too expensive. Because you will have people who are going to tell you, can I get a discount? Or I will wait until you discount this program. Or can I get an extended payment plan? And this is where you need to say, I'm sorry, this is the price. The price is not going to be discounted, it's only going to go up. So you'd better join now. Or I'm happy to see you in another space, which is much lower ticket, but you're not getting that support. And don't fall for this, that if your messaging is perfect, you're not going to be facing these challenges. You might face this at any stage of your business. So I reduced what I delivered in a 500 offer, for example. I was not delivering like constant one-on-one calls in $500 offer, and I started giving them only in 50K spaces. The $500 offers were limited to a course where I could have, for example, a workshop, or where we can have a group Q&A, something like that, but no longer full support as if this is a 50K space. And this also, it not only expands your capacity, but it also gives you this creative energy, because you're no longer in everyone's business trying to help them when they are not returning that energy back to you. This is an exchange. And if you are constantly giving way more than you're receiving, you will end up in a heavy burnout, you will end up exhausted, and you might also end up in debt. I have seen this. And many times it happened to me to tell a client, stop over-delivering, deliver within the scope, raise the prices, this must be 5 times higher price. And I saw clients who couldn't do this. They couldn't hold themselves. And they didn't have that resilience. And although they had a big ego, they were not able to really stand by themselves and not waver. And I know people who went in debt because they had to hire more people to deliver the work in a 5K offer that must cost 30K. And these are real cases. And it's really sad when I see this. And for God's sake, don't do that. Just don't do that, please. In my case, the less I delivered in these low ticket spaces, low ticket offers, the more intentional and result driven my high ticket spaces became. So I will give you an example, because someone can get offended or think I make fun of you. That's totally not the idea. 3 years ago, I had a client who was paying $650, as if I remember correctly. And this client was totally not doing the work. So I had a couple of conversations where I said, look, the price is going up. I cannot keep delivering this at that price. Plus that you are obviously not motivated at that price because it's affordable for you and you're not even giving a damn for this. The price is going up and I cannot be available for you unless you book your call 3 days in advance. You must be showing to the calls that we have booked, and there is a piece of responsibility that you need to do. You cannot be waiting for me to do your work. And I just said, like, I've had other people who were paying like, I don't know, 1,500, other people who were paying 5K for different proximity. So I cannot sacrifice and take from the client who pays 5K for someone who pays 650 and even is not doing the work. And that was someone whom I liked. I believed in what this person could do, in the potential, and I made a discount, a significant discount. But then I had to pay the price because this client was not doing the work, he was not having the results he could have, he was not fully doing the work. And actually this puts me in a situation where I look bad, you know. And every time you make this, you are paying for it. And I'm really very transparent and very, very honest. We are not speaking of these things in the online space. We're constantly get more clients, get better clients, but this is your day-to-day life. And when you come to me, these things appear. And I will tell you from my personal experience that every time when I'm not working according to my standards and what I have said to myself and claimed to the universe, when I break my own rules, I am the one paying for it. I'm getting drained, I'm getting exhausted, the client is not getting the results because they are not doing the work, and then it's not a win-win for anyone. We are both doing a disservice. So if you are doing this, you're doing yourself and your client a disservice. You need to be aware of this. And once you do these things, once I have done them, I cleaned up my calendar. So I removed the calls that were not necessary, created space for deep work, creativity, rest for myself. I put in my calendar space to work on my business. And do you know what else I did? I left an empty space in my calendar. Because, you know, the creativity is not always coming according to your schedule. For example, there were 3 days, the last 3 days, I'm not feeling like very creative, like very high energy. I'm not feeling high vibe, and I cannot do like creative high power work. And that is why it is important for you to have space in your calendar. So when you have this free space, you don't have strategic work, you don't have client work, you don't have like to be constantly on 24/7. This is when your brain starts working and you receive these ideas from the universe. How exactly to restructure your program. For example, now when I gave myself this couple of days, let's say, off, yes, I was doing some work, but let's say 2 hours per day, not like 8 hours per day. So many ideas came to me. I'm going to completely restructure how I'm delivering my one-on-one work. I'm going to make a CEO VIP lounge where you're going to have access to a lot of resources that are not going to be the main work. The idea is not that you have a library of pre-recorded courses, but the idea is that I'm going to restructure the program. I'm going to work in a structured way where I have my program according to what you need. This is only for one-on-one work. And I'm no longer going to be stepping in where you are in, but I'm going to do it in a completely different way that is going to completely transform your whole business. I'm going to layer it. I'm going to make it really interesting for you, and we are going to work on your brand, on your sales system, on your messaging, on your team. There are 10 points, so this is going to be like 10 modules, let's say, but it is going to be structured not on what you think you need to do and what you want to do, but the exact things you need to do on all levels of your business to scale exponentially. Because when you come to me for one-on-one work, this is not like, okay, let's increase with 5% the sales, or let's have one high cash month and then go back to normal. my work is really high level, and it is really a privilege to work with me one-on-one, because you cannot imagine how much energy, how much knowledge I pour into you. And this is not trendy work. These are principles of marketing, sales, business planning that I have learned in corporate. This is how the biggest brands and companies in the world are operating. This is not me like hopping on a call with you and you say, okay, I have one piece of content that I want to refine. No. Content is just 10% of your work on your business. It is 10% of your marketing. We need to focus on many other things first, then to refine the content for 15 minutes. And your job as a CEO is not to tweak content all day long. Your job as a CEO is not to post content on social media or Instagram. It is a completely different role to be a CEO. And the last thing that I started doing is I started saying, sorry, this isn't included in that offer. So for example, this client that I gave you, I'm sorry, I cannot be available every day for you in that $650 space. Even, and what I'm going to tell you, these clients who pay 50K, they are saying, when are you available for a call, for example? Are you available? They're very respectful to your time because they value their time. They're very respectful to your work because they respect their work. And they also want to work in a structured and strategic way. They are not chaotic. This is the main difference between someone who is holding and scaling a business and someone who is not. Every successful entrepreneur I know who makes more than 500K per year is extremely structured. Yes, you could make 200 to 300K per year with some chaos, like randomly doing things, but it is a total mess. Behind the scenes, it's firefighting with glitter. You might look like the big boss online, and this, I'm saying this that way because it is meant to trigger you so you can become self-aware and realize that that is such an energy and money leak. You could make pretty good money, let's say, I don't know, 30K months per year, 30K months, sorry, with these random activities, but it is going to be so awful, so toxic inside of your business for you and for your team. It is going to be, clients are going to be horrible, draining, or not getting results, or constantly unhappy. Unless you get structured and unless you do these shifts that I told you. So how many? Maybe 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I gave you 6 points, and this must be a paid program, but anyway, I'm diving very deep, telling you how exactly to do this in the Scale Like a CEO Masterclass, which is still 111 euros. It's going to 333 because there are two very deep sessions, almost 2 hours, where I am diving deep into the how, what exactly you need to do. And there are 3 activation sessions which are like 6 or 9 minutes, under 10 minutes. And you are going to, get out of this program like a completely different person. A CEO, someone who is making big decisions, someone who is leading yourself and your company, someone who is securing the profit. Because you will make these shifts in a very, these sometimes they are micro, some of them are like, might sound to you like, oh, this is huge. Yes, some of the things would be huge, but some of the things are very subtle. You could make them really gently and no one is going to suffer. In fact, everyone is going to be happier. And the thing is that you're going to become healthier, happier, you're going to free up space, you're going to become more creative, you're going to make more money. Your clients are going to get much better mentor or service provider, coach, whatever you are in any niche. They're going to get much better results. They are going to be also happier. And it's going to be a win-win for everyone. You, your clients, and your bank account. If that is not the ultimate goal, I don't know what it is. So what happened when I implemented these 6 shifts? Honestly, my energy, I became magnetic. Clients were coming from all over. Social media, word of mouth, other networks. I became so much in demand. People were saying like, go work with Marina. And I started making money like that, you know. I didn't have at some point an offer that was less than $1,000. I removed all low ticket spaces at some point because that was feeling okay for me. This doesn't mean I'm saying do not have low ticket spaces, do not have entry level offers, or do not do low ticket masterclasses if you want to. This is not what I'm saying. Just at some point that business model felt very right for me. Clients were coming, my recurring revenue was growing and growing and growing. I had secured sales for 2 months in a row. My clients started staying with me from 12 months to 3 years. But that was because of my leadership. I became magnetic. My boundaries became leadership, real leadership. I started working less, putting less effort, being, you know, I was feeling just happier. Everything was flowing. That was the result. And these standards, they became a filter for dream clients because I was instantly able to say, look, that space is not the right fit for you. And I was not trying to sell everything to everyone. I was really selective to my clients. And I remember once I was running 30-day challenge, which was $77 on the pre-sale. And someone DM'd me and said, can we hop on a call for this? And I was like, are you serious? And this is an instant filter telling you, that client is not a fit, even for $77 space. And you're going to get these messages. You're going to get messages that are not really relevant. Don't think that even if your messaging is the most nailed, you're going to get this. But that means you again should be resilient and not be saying like, I'm wrong, something with my messaging is wrong, or why am I attracting these people? The bigger magnet you become, the more things you attract. And there will be unaligned opportunities. But here comes your responsibility to say no to these things that are not what you're looking for, not your standard, not what you want and need. As you grow, you need to be more and more selective to what comes to your world, who you're working with, all these things. And then even let's say you're running ads and many people are buying your courses, pre-recorded courses, masterclasses, anything. You will face people who are going to say, I want a refund. But then you need to be able again to protect yourself. Why do you want this refund? What's the reason? Are you not a fit for this and you just bought it? Or like being able also to take the feedback and say, okay, I see it was not the right fit, blah, 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 or I could do this better, and you can refine it. But this comes from a resilience and emotional intelligence. When you're doing these shifts, it doesn't mean you become like that and you're not taking feedback from your clients, or you're becoming like someone, no, I'm scaling to 8 figures and I will do whatever I want. This is not what I'm saying. This doesn't mean sacrifice the client, the buying experience, the client experience, how your people are getting results. This is not what I'm saying. But many of you have this problem with over-delivering and undercharging, with boundaries. You have a lot of problems with this, trust me. So when I shifted this, I started signing high-ticket clients who respected my work, showed up very powerfully. They come ready to do the work, you know, and they are paying in full. They know they can do it. So you don't have to over-explain. If you are in the situation that you're over-explaining in your content, in your like in this convincing energy, in like with clients, this means your boundaries are crossed, that you don't have boundaries. Because the people who get it, they don't need convincing energy, they don't need you to constantly explain. And trust me, there are so many people who just get it. They just get it. Put this in your beautiful head and trust that people are getting it. And stop over-explaining, stop convincing, stop chasing them. Because when you lead like a CEO, like someone who is in full conviction and who is not wavering, you don't attract people who drain you. You attract people who are a match for your standard. Okay? So if you are recognizing yourself in this, once again, this is no judgment. This is not to beat yourself. This is for you to have self-awareness and radical responsibility, to be able to see, okay, I'm leaking energy and money here. Let me fix this. Let me take care of that. Let me raise the bar, even if things are really well right now. Think of it, okay, how can I raise the bar? How can I go a layer deeper? How can I improve my client experience while also freeing up time and space for myself? And if you're sitting like with me watching this live and thinking, this is exactly what I need, I'm ready for this next level of structure, leadership, simplicity, then you need to be in the Scale Like a CEO Masterclass, because like that might sound like a cliche, but really scaling is not about doing more. It's about doing better. It's about becoming the woman, or even if you're a man, becoming the entrepreneur, the coach, the CEO who leads yourself and your business with precision, with high standards. And in this masterclass, Scale Like a CEO, 111 euros. The link is here, linked to the live. You can access it. We are going to refine how you deliver to clean up your energy leaks. These things I talked about today. I will tell you how to restructure your offers. We're going to discuss this, and also how to set up your overall business, your overall systems, overall, order of operations, if you wish, that will let you scale without this burnout, without this being constantly on, without constantly being in your head, because this is the reality. I know we are not speaking of this. We are all focused on the big transformation, the big results, the more clients, better clients, more money, and I'm also posting this type of content, of course, but inside my world, I want you to be realistic and transparent, to be able to come to me and say, Marina, I have this and this problem, this and this is a bottleneck, I am leaking energy here. We are focusing on the things that needs to be improved, not only on the things that are doing great. Because I know you have invested in many other coaching spaces. And yes, it's wonderful when you're celebrating, but you're even afraid to speak what's not working right now. to dive deep into why it's not working, what do we need to shift. And when you come to work with me in any proximity, or even if it's just a masterclass, I am focusing on these things I know you need to refine. And I know because of my experience. I have been a brand manager in an international pharmaceutical company, and I know how to build a successful business, brands. I have scaled some brands from 0 to multi-6 figures or 7 figures in 1 year, and I have led brands from who were making, let's say, I don't know, 150K per year to making 700 per year. And I have marked the highest sales months for these products. I know also from my experience as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as a mentor, as being a CMO or senior marketing manager on a global level in global companies that you have in your household, I know these things by heart. And I know what each and every business is facing. Remove this from your beautiful head that there is a business without problems. There is no. And unless we clear these roadblocks, these bottlenecks, some of them are tiny shifts, some of them are going to take some time to refine, you're not going to be able to scale to 7 figures or even more. Trust me, I have worked with businesses who make $1 million per month, which means probably 10 figures per year. Not 10 figures, sorry, it's still 7 figures. But each and every business needs constant work on these points that I just told you. So you don't need to prove how much you care, how much you can do, who you are. You just need to lead differently, on a different level. And you need to know that the day I stopped managing my business like a service provider and started leading like a CEO, made this identity shift, that was the day that everything changed, and I went from selling 5K offers where I delivered like crazy to selling 50K offers where I had much more freedom and respect, and turned 10 times more. 10 times more. That is from me for today. Leave your comment. Let me know if that lands. If you are in any of these situations, if you want to fix this, the link to the Scale Like a CEO Masterclass is linked here. Or if you want to work with me in a close proximity, feel free to comment below and to get in touch with me. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.